Welcome to another episode of K&A Football. It's been a long time. I know I said that last time we recorded, which was about a month ago when we said we're back. But now football's back, and now we're back. Sit back and enjoy. We should be back for good now. This is K&A Football. All right, so this should be K&A Football for good now. Debbie came over today and helped me set up the new studio here. So we got my whole desk set up here that will not move. This is staying here, so no more technical difficulties on my part at least. We got the nice little jersey set up back there. It's a little dark right now.
Something just failed on my
end. I know it looks.
I
was really impressed with it. It's a little dark right now to see, but
yeah,
Austin, you there?
So, Debbie, if you could relay on to Caden, he's got to call me back.
Is Austin here? Austin's calling me. Hold up. Hello, Austin?
Yes.
Are you there?
Now? Yeah, we're good.
Yep. Are you on podcast?
Yes.
All right. I just chilling. So I just gave the intro. Chilling. You ready? Ready to go?
We're ready. We're good to go.
So pretty much, Austin still hasn't left for college. So he still has a couple weeks until he goes and gets his permanent setup. And I got mine here, but we're just going to go through. Right now, like I said, we haven't filmed an episode in probably around a month. So hopefully we're going to get back onto that weekly schedule. And this week, there's just so much news that we've missed out on in the last month. So it's this week, we're going to go through every single team. And just if they have some news, something to talk about, we'll briefly talk about that news for that team. And if not, we'll just kind of just summarize that team and then move along to the next. Within the next month, the month of August, we'll have a fantasy football episode. We'll have a season predictions, like awards video. We'll have a divisions, team by team record video. We have a lot of fun stuff planned going into football season, so it should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's exciting. Like Hayden said, training camp just started the other week. We have our first, actual game happening on Thursday. It is just the beginning of the preseason games, but regardless, it gets you excited.
You know, it's been a long summer. It's been a fun summer. I mean, I'm not complaining about the summer, but now coming home and turning on NFL Network and seeing training camp, and it's just like, man, football season's actually here, and it's so exciting. We still got a month until the actual games, but, you know, it's still something.
Yeah. My family had wanted to do a fantasy football league this year, and most of my siblings have never been in a fantasy league of any sort, and so this was my first time being able to be commissioner of a league, and so we got that all set up. We drafted a couple nights ago because we knew that it's really early to be drafting, but me leaving for school, we wanted to make sure that I was going to be at home when we drafted. So I mean, just all of that stuff, just getting ready for football season to get you really excited. Like, I'm just antsy. I'm waiting for the season, man. It's going to be fun. There's been a lot of things that have changed, and we're excited to walk you guys through it. So first up on our agenda is my home division of the AFC North. So in the AFC North, as everyone knows, is the Browns, Bengals, Ravens, and Steelers. I don't think much has really happened in the AFC North. Browns, everyone knows about them. Deshaun Watson, hopefully, going to be better than he was last year. The NFL ranked him as still a top 10 quarterback, or at least Madden did. Sorry, Madden ranked him as still a top 10 quarterback.
Madden's everything, you know?
Yeah, and Madden's, the greatest, obviously, because it ranked Deshaun Watson top 10 and the Browns in the top 8 teams. So I'm totally done with that. Steelers are probably still going to be bad.
The Browns, before you move on to the next, the Browns did go ahead and unveil some new uniforms that I know Browns fans love.
Yeah. So They're white uniforms. They still got the orange and brown on the sleeves. I think they're pretty sick. A lot of people were hating on them. Non-Browns fans are like, "Oh, they just released a white uniform. What's the big deal?" Well, you remember last year when the Bengals released their white uniforms, people were like, "Oh, these are so clean. These are the greatest uniforms," including me. Like I said, they were pretty sick. I hate the Bengals, but I mean, they were sick uniforms, and so get the Browns uniform some love. We got a little bit of pop of color in ours. I'm excited to see them on the field.
Yeah, I think they look pretty cool. I mean, they're. I mean, any white jersey is pretty sweet, and now they got the white helmets, and now maybe they can. I mean, both Ohio teams now got the all white on, so hey.
Oh yeah, that's pretty fun. Now we'll never get to see a Battle of
No.
Ohio where they're both in white because that would just be way too confusing. But I'd be so down for that.
You know how the NFL needs to allow it. You know how awesome that'd be. Everyone just tackling their own team.
We'll wait until the Browns and Bengals play at the end of the year when there's most likely snow on the ground, and then we'll make them play in their white uniforms. So it's just you don't know what's happening. It's just whichever way the Brown football's going. That's what you know.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
Steelers, not much going on over there. Pretty boring. They're probably, I hope, please finish at the bottom of the division. That would just be great because that would mean that we're not at the bottom of the division. Bengals actually do have a little bit of news. The NFL world got a little bit of a scare. The NFL got a little bit of a scare as their pretty boy, Joe Burrow, got carted off the field in training camp. When that video released, I think everyone took a little bit of a gasp. They're like, "What happened to Joe Burrow?" Except for me, I was like, "Oh no, what happened to Joe Burrow?" Except I was pretty excited about that. Turns out it was just a calf strain, and he'll probably definitely be back before week 1, which good for Joe Burrow.
They're saying right. They said it was a calf strain, but it's not too severe. But they said they're not expecting him really to be out week 1, but they wouldn't really be shocked. I mean, calf strains are the type of injury that halfway through the year that thing could re-aggravate, and then he's out a couple while. So that is a big blow for the Bengals. But apparently, the dude who they're playing at quarterback right now he was a rookie last season, so he's never played, and it's some nobody. So Bengals fans, I'm sure, real want Joe Burrow back. But it was also just announced that he's going to be one of the quarterbacks that's on the documentary for next season.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm. He's the only one that's announced.
Yeah, if you guys didn't catch that, quarterback. No, I wish that they were sponsoring us. Quarterback released on Netflix, and I thought that it was a fantastic documentary. It did a great job walking through like the day-to-day of a quarterback's preparation for a game. It walks through almost every week of the season. It followed Patrick Mahomes, Kirk Cousins, and Marcus Mariota, which is just a fantastic spread if you know anything about last season. So it was a great documentary, and I'm really looking forward to season 2. They should sponsor us for ad read next time.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Oh, totally. Netflix. Just not even just quarterback, just the entire.
Yeah, just the whole corporation of
Netflix. Yeah. I haven't personally seen it yet, but I've seen clips, and it looks really good. I'm in the middle of a show right now, so once I'm finished with that, I'm so going to go watch it myself. But I heard Kirk Cousins, it really shines a light on him and really makes him a lovable.
It makes you really like Kirk Cousins. Really does.
Yeah.
All right.
And then the next team in the division is what? The Ravens. And the Ravens don't really got nothing. Odell is fully healthy, and he's playing at all the practices, and he'll be healthy for his 4 games that he plays this year until he goes and tweaks something else in his leg. But the Ravens' best weapons that he's had his whole career. So it'll be the AFC North is probably the best division in football. Them or the AFC East. They're both really good divisions. So that's going to be a fun division to watch all year to see how it goes.
Yeah, it's really weird to hear people say that, like how good the AFC North is, how good all the teams are, how good all the quarterbacks are. Nick Chubb is looking to it's really weird, man, to even try to have this come out of my mouth. But Nick Chubb is being regarded as the best running back in the league right now, which I love. Like, I love that people are saying that. It's not just like analysts, like NFL players are saying it. Like, it's fantastic to hear, and it's really weird to have like an actually like team that should be good. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
All
What
right, and
division are we
then
going through next?
so the next division we have on the agenda here is the AFC East, which we were just talking about. Great segue there, Caden.
Hey,
So
I
the
knew it.
AFC East, everyone knows that division. The Super Bowl reigning champions, Kansas City Chiefs, are in that division. And
Not in the AFC East.
oh, I'm sorry, that's the AFC West. What the heck was I even talking about? Gosh, AFC East. You're
It's all
right.
right.
Everyone knows the AFC East except for me.
Hey,
I don't know the
hey,
AFC East.
it's been a long off season. You know,
It's been a long
it's
off
okay.
season. I've lost my touch. Kansas City isn't even in the East. I don't know what I was talking about. AFC East is the Bills, Patriots, Jets, and Dolphins. That's right. I
Yeah,
know
there
my
we go.
divisions, guys. You have to trust me.
Nice. Did 2 tries. That's okay.
It's okay. All right, so I guess we'll start off with the Bills. Let's go ahead and start with the Bills. So, Buffalo Bills, I don't think there's anything really of note. They haven't made too many offseason moves. Still looking to be Super Bowl contenders, which I think that they will, but they do have a pretty stacked division this year.
Yeah, their division's definitely the best it's been since Josh Allen's been there, and it's like I said with the AFC North, that should be a really fun division to watch. I did see today that the Bills were really impressed with Stephon Diggs, and they're saying he's looking really good at training camp. And I was kind of confused because I mean, of course, it's
Of
Stephon
course,
Diggs. He's one of the
Stephon Diggs.
best
Yeah.
receivers. Like I was like, how is this news? But man, sorry. Apparently, that was news worthy to put on the TV. So, you know,
Yeah, well,
Stephon Diggs is looking good. I guess that's news. But
maybe
aside
he's
from
going to
that,
be.
you know, the Bills should be good.
Yeah, maybe he's going to be even more insane than he already was. Who knows?
You know,
But doing
maybe he's going to come and have a
work in the
just.
offseason.
Maybe he'll look like Justin Jefferson. You never know.
You never know.
Mm-hmm.
Before we get to the exciting teams, the more exciting teams, I should say, let's talk about the Patriots. What are they doing, Caden? What are they even doing? I don't even know. Are they just committing to be bad? Is that what they're doing over there?
You know, the Patriots are going to be very bad. Like, my prediction, I know this isn't really a hot take episode. I'm sure we'll have one of those in the next month. But I'm going to say a hot take right now. At the end of the season, Bill Belichick will be fired. Because I just think they're going to be so bad, man. Mac Jones, I don't know if I've shared my opinions on Mac Jones, but I do not think of him very highly as a football player or as a person, but that's a whole nother conversation. Their number one receiver is Juju. It's about all you got to know.
If your number
there.
one receiver is Juju and your quarterback isn't Patrick Mahomes, you have a problem.
Exactly. And then they have Ramondre Stevenson at running back, who's a good running back, but they don't have the greatest offensive line. They did bring in Leonard Fournette for a visit and Zeke, but I don't think they signed either. So I don't really know what they're doing. But yeah, they're kind of just, I mean, everyone knows they're slotted in fourth in the division. It's just going to be a rough year for the Patriots. But it doesn't really hurt me to say that because they've won their fair share of games.
They've had their fair share of wins, which just goes to show how much the NFL can fluctuate. I mean, it's been, 4 years since Tom Brady left New England, and they're already to the point where it's like, oh, yeah, they're probably going to be last in the division. Just goes to show how quick things can change.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the Tom Brady effect.
Yeah, it is. Tom Brady is good. I can't imagine Bill Belichick gets fired, though. I mean, like, Bill Belichick basically ran that organization. There's no way that they can fire him. The only way that I can see him leaving, because he is the GM. Like, he's the coach and the GM, so he hires and fires himself. The only way he can get out is if Robert Kraft decided that he didn't want him anymore. But I think the only way that Bill Belichick leaves is if he decides that he's done.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
I mean, just ever since Tom Brady left, though, all they've done is have losing seasons, and they made one playoff appearance, and they got rocked by like 60 against the Bills. So, I mean, we'll see. It's a whole year. Maybe it'll be a surprise team like the Seahawks. Highly doubt it. Willing to put my entire like everything on it, but you never know.
But they did take a major step forward in not having a defensive coordinator as their offensive coordinator. So, good job, Patriots. We'll save the most exciting team for last. Dolphins down in the south of the AFC East. Not too much going on. The biggest news being that Jalen Ramsey went ahead and tweaked his knee, so he won't be back until
Yeah.
December
Yeah.
of this year.
He had to get a surgery for a full meniscus replacement.
Yeah.
Which doesn't sound very painless.
Doesn't sound
pretty
no.
painful.
Yeah, it sounds pretty bad. And so the Dolphins were like, okay, our number one corner and probably one of the best corners, if not the best corner in the NFL, went ahead and just got hurt, which is great. Tyreek Hill definitely had something to do with that. You cannot change my mind. So they went ahead and signed probably, if I had to say, the next best thing. They call him the burnt piece of toast, straight out of the Ohio State University, Eli Apple. So
yeah.
the memes are just running rampant throughout the NFL meme world as Eli Apple gets signed, probably going to get torched on every other play all year, and he's their CB1.
And if you remember, Eli Apple and Tyreek Hill have a lot of beef from when he was in Kansas City and when Eli Apple was in Cincinnati. And so when that news came out, Tyreek Hill quickly went to Twitter and tweeted out, "Oh, Monday's practice is going to be fun," and put a smiley face. Like that, Eli Apple is going to get torched in every single practice for the rest of the year. Like maybe it'll make him a better corner. Maybe going against someone like Tyreek Hill will make him a better corner, but it's going to be rough for the Dolphins practice. But apparently then today they were interviewing Eli Apple, and they were like, "Oh, so have you seen Tyreek or anything?" And he said, "Oh yeah, he was super nice to me." Like that's just not the most like childish thing ever. Like you're a grown dude on the same football team. It's your job, and you got to worry about someone being nice to you. Like that was his words. That's super sad, but it causes for more enjoyment and entertainment when there's no real football right now. So I'm not complaining.
Yeah. All right, and then the last team in the AFC East, probably the one with the most buzz, a lot of people saying that they might be the new Denver Broncos, but I highly doubt it, is the New York Jets. Obviously, a lot of offseason buzz for them. They went ahead and traded for Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers then proceeded to ask for every wide receiver he's ever had in his entire career, to which the Jets said, okay. Aaron Rodgers got some ice from Sauce Gardner, and he went ahead and took a massive pay cut so they can go ahead and sign more players, something that he was not willing to do in Green Bay, which got to make Packers fans unhappy.
Oh, yeah. $35 million pay cut. Not just like a $5 million. $35 million just to... Like, he pretty much did that just to leave Green Bay and go to the Jets. I mean, if I'm a Packers fan right now, it's not the end of the world to me because I think Aaron Rodgers is pretty old and past his prime. But I'm still a little like, okay. All right now. A little ridiculous.
Yeah. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers has one of what I think, and you as well, think will be one of the best weapons in the NFL in Garrett Wilson. He was a great wide receiver last year when he had Zach Wilson as his quarterback. Won Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Yep.
And now he's going to have, a 3-time MVP on his team, Super Bowl champion, throwing to him. One of the most accurate passers the league has ever seen. Garrett Wilson's going to go crazy. There are some videos that have come out of training camps of him making insane catches. His routes are just so clean. Don't be surprised if he's the yards leader in receptions this year.
Absolutely would not be surprised. Like, I'm expecting him to make a leap and be up there within the top 5 receivers in the league. I mean, he went from... he was a rookie last season, so already it's tough. No rookie receivers come out here and are like world beaters. I mean, Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson kind of were, but they're also two of the best receivers in the league.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, well, I was just going to say, I'm sure that we'll say this when we do our fantasy episode in the next couple of weeks here, but I'll say it now just so you get a little bit of a head start if you're drafting early. Garrett Wilson as, your guy after you take after Justin Jefferson, Diggs, after Tyreek Hill, after these guys are off the board, he's a great guy to go ahead and get because we really anticipate he's going to be fantastic. Right. Right. All right, Caden. Hate to cut you off there, but I've been informed that the viewers are unable to see or hear you. So get in contact with Debbie really quick, and we're gonna go ahead and try to get that fixed. In the meantime, like Caden was saying, Brees Hall was the Jets rookie running back last year. He was doing really, really well, and he went ahead and got hurt. Shame on him. So he tore his knee all up. There was nothing left. Pretty sure it was just his thigh and then his shin, and there was just no knee left to be had. And so they had to downgrade a little bit, and they went ahead and decided that they needed a running back, clearly. And so they went and had some interviews with, I think it was Dalvin Cook. There are two Cook brothers that are running backs in the NFL, but I'm pretty sure it was Dalvin Cook. He was released by the Vikings earlier this year. Caden and I commented on that. So they went ahead and had a meeting with Dalvin Cook. And so there hasn't been much talk since then, but we anticipate that he'll probably get signed by the Jets. So we'll see what happens. All right. And then speaking of the AFC East, we're moving on to the AFC West. So some controversy that came from these two divisions bashing heads a little bit was Sean Payton, the now traded for head coach of the Denver Broncos from the New Orleans Saints, went ahead and made some comments about Nathaniel Hackett, the former head coach of the Denver Broncos. If you don't remember, he had only one season with the Broncos that was so incredibly bad that he was let go after only 1 year. So Sean Payton said, his coaching tenure was so bad. Everything that he's doing, we're trying to do the exact opposite because it was just the worst thing the world has ever seen. So after he said that, Aaron Rodgers from the AFC East, which we just talked about, he said, hey, don't talk about my coach that way, because he's now the Jets offensive coordinator. So he said, don't talk about my coach that way. These comments are very inappropriate. So that's what's been going on with these two divisions, and I hope that they get to square off and settle it on the field. That'll be a lot of fun. But talking about the Broncos, they haven't made too many moves. I think they had a wide receiver today, lower guy on the depth chart. He got hurt, and he's being placed on IR. He will not be playing the rest of the season, so that's a little bit of hurt in the wide receiver depth. But overall, they're pretty much the same team from last year. So hopefully they can do a little bit better, make the division a little more competitive. But both Caden and I think, anticipate that they'll finish third in the division this year. Working through these technical difficulties. So they'll probably finish third in the division this year, ahead of the Raiders. Those poor Raiders fans, they went from Derek Carr to Jimmy Garoppolo, which you'd think would be about a lateral move. But it turns out that they're actually, I think, going to be a little bit better than they were last year, especially at the quarterback position. The videos out of training camp are looking like Jimmy Garoppolo is throwing really well, as always. I heard a take the other day that people don't understand why Jimmy Garoppolo isn't regarded as a more top-tier quarterback. I mean, in my mind...
Am I back, Austin?
I don't know if you're back. You'd have to ask Debbie if you're back, Caden.
Debbie says I'm back. Okay, we're chilling.
All right, he's back. Allegedly.
Here we go. Technical difficulties.
It wouldn't be K&A football without the technical difficulties, but apparently
Yes.
Caden is
Yes,
back.
sir. A side was starting an hour late, you know.
Yes, as happens. So, Caden, I just started talking about the Raiders. I was just talking about Jimmy Garoppolo.
Mhm.
His throws have looked really good. There's been a lot of takes that he
Said nobody
has...
ever. Said nobody. Said the Raiders trying to start some propaganda.
No. That he, in my mind, is kind of like a Kirk Cousins. Where like,
No.
okay,
No.
come
Kirk
on.
Cousins is
Kind of.
miles better than him.
Come on, I do think Kirk Cousins is better, but I said kind of like Kirk Cousins in the sense that he isn't fantastic. He's not going to really win you games, but he's not going to be the reason you lose him either. He's a solid quarterback, and I don't understand the hate on Jimmy Garoppolo.
Has Kirk Cousins ever ran out of the back of the end zone for a safety and then threw a pick six on the same play?
No.
No, he has not. Jimmy G has.
But neither has Brock Osweiler. Neither has Johnny Manziel.
Fair point. You know, it's all right. I get that, but I personally am very low on Jimmy Garoppolo. I think the Raiders are in for a rough year. If I'm the Raiders, I'm lobbing it up to Devontae Adams 45 times a game.
Yeah.
I'm not biased because I have him on my dynasty team. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, that would never be a reason why you would want that. Come on,
yeah,
stop
no.
that.
If that's how you win football games is by throwing it to one dude the whole time. Trust. But
trust. You have to trust. Caden's the offensive coordinator now.
They also had a leading rusher last year who's not at training camp, which I guess we can kind of talk about that whole thing because that's a whole thing going on right now in football with every team. Man. So the running backs in the league, you know, they don't. It's been a thing for a while. Running backs don't get that much money. It was a thing with Le'Veon Bell. It was a thing with Melvin Gordon. It was a thing with all these superstar running backs. They don't get paid, so they sit out of training camp, and it turns into a whole thing. And 99% of the time, it doesn't turn out well for the running back. Le'Veon Bell didn't really get his money, then went to the Jets and was terrible. Melvin Gordon, same thing. And it started to happen again with Saquon. I mean, these are great running backs right now. Saquon and Josh Jacobs weren't getting an extension that they wanted. And they were like, okay, we're going to sit out. And they were kind of being babies about it. I mean, you're offered a couple million and you're crying about it. I mean, I know you're in the NFL and everyone gets millions, but like, look at you guys and then look at us. I know you're taking more of a beating, but we're not out here making millions and crying about not making millions. You guys are going to make millions on this new deal. And you're not, and you're like, oh no, I don't want 10 mil. I want 15. What's $5 more million to you? Like I truly, like, it's a little bit ridiculous. Now I did also see something that the average kicker salary is more than the average running back salary, which is wild to think about. But
yeah,
at the same time, you're still making millions of dollars. So eventually, Saquon did, man up and decided to get that. He just signed a 1-year extension with the Giants. Josh Jacobs is still holding out. And the running backs decided to hold a Zoom conference, like the 12 best running backs jumped in a Zoom call and talked about how they're not getting equal pay, whatever that means. But that's a whole thing going on right now. And also with Jonathan Taylor, but we'll talk about that more when we get to the Colts.
Right. So running backs, obviously a problem. Josh Jacobs is not looking to re-sign with the Raiders unless they offer him a bunch of money. So the Raiders going to be bad, probably going to be last in the AFC West. What will probably be second in the AFC West is your boy Caden, Justin Herbert, and the Chargers.
Oh yeah, I'm still high on him, of course. They drafted a receiver for him this year. They got a new offensive coordinator, and their offensive line's healthy. And Herbert doesn't have a cracked rib. That's the most important part. So I mean, they're not going to be the Chiefs. No one's going to be the Chiefs. No one else has Mahomes, but they're going to be good. They're probably going to make the playoffs as a wild card, but no real big news right now with them or the Chiefs for that matter, except what's his butt? Kadarius Toney, Mr. Injury Prone, got hurt on the first day of practice, so there was that.
Yeah, always Mr. Injury Prone right there. But the Chiefs will be the Chiefs, and I have no doubt that they will be a competitor, if not a Super Bowl champions in 2024.
Yep. Hopefully not, because it's gonna become a whole Patriots thing where everyone hates Mahomes, just like everyone hated Brady and the Patriots.
Yeah, but Mahomes is more fun to watch than Brady was. So
He's
we
a
got
lot
that
more
going for
fun
him.
to watch, but it'll happen.
It'll probably happen. All right, moving on to the AFC South. Um, there has been actually a lot of activity going on in the AFC South. We'll start with the team that has the least amount of activity, I think, and that would be the Jaguars. So I don't
Yeah.
think the Jaguars have done much this offseason, other than going through the draft as everyone else does, entering training camp. Nothing else has really gone on. Um, Jaguars probably going to run that division for this year and for the foreseeable years,
Oh
unless
yeah.
the Texans decide to get really good really fast, which I don't see happening. So the Jaguars are probably going to run away with that division. The
The
reason
only
being,
oh sorry, go for
no,
it.
go ahead, go ahead.
The only news really with the Jaguars right now is a video surfaced of Calvin Ridley
Oh
running
yes,
routes, and he was pretty fast on the routes. Like it showed,
hmm
I think Zay Jones is the name. He ran the route like he sprinted a normal receiver speed. It was an average speed, and then Calvin Ridley was right after him. He just flew, and everyone lost their mind. And now, like
hmm
in fantasy drafts, he was going like middle of the third round, end of the third round, start of the fourth round. And since that video surfaced of just him running fast, he's going at the end of the second, mid second, and it's like, okay, he's running a route and he ran it fast. And now you're drafting this guy so high, and who also, keep in mind, hasn't played football in 2 years. Remember how
right.
Deshaun Watson looked after not playing football for a year and a half, and now this guy's gonna come and just, oh yeah, he's fine, you know. So
Yeah.
I took advantage of that by completely scamming somebody in our dynasty league by trading him during draft night. But that's besides the point.
It's beside the point. Don't worry about that. Uh, the reason that the Jaguars will be running away with the division is because nobody will be running in the division. As we alluded to earlier, Jonathan Taylor has
Oh, nice, nice.
had some struggles with the Colts. The Colts were not willing to pay Jonathan Taylor what he felt he deserved, and so he went ahead and requested a trade. To which the owner of the Colts was like, "Yeah, we won't be trading him for anything." And then he changed his mind a little bit, and he said, "Actually, we'll take an early first." And then he came out with another comment, and he was like, if I die tomorrow and Jonathan Taylor dies with me, no one's going to remember us and the league's going to move on, which was a really weird thing to say, I think.
Which is a
So
very weird thing to
I
say.
don't know why Jim Irsay said that.
Jim Irsay, if you just look at him, he just looks like there is no way that this guy runs an organization. I mean, he looks like he's like 107 years older than the required age to run a football team. I mean, he is like on draft night, like they drafted Anthony Richardson in the fourth pick, and then they had the first pick of round two, and he tweeted out and said, "Hey Colts fans, should we pick Will Levis?" Like what? Why would you get whatever? He's a little bit strange, and so that whole situation with him and Jonathan Taylor is it's escalating every single day. It's getting worse and worse. The way things are going, I don't know if Jonathan Taylor is going to ever play for them, but they're like, yeah, we're just going to put you on the non-football injury list, so you won't
Right,
play the season, but we don't have to pay you.
right. And it was really weird because the Colts said that they were going to put him on the non-football injury list for back pain. I think that he was
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
having some back pain, and so that's why we're going to put him there, because it's not football related, but he hurt his back, so that's why we're going to put him on here. And then Jonathan Taylor was like, "Yeah, I never reported that I had back pain, so I don't know why you're saying that." So that's a whole situation that's going to be a lot of fun to watch,
Unless
I
you're a
think,
Colts fan.
unless you're a Colts fan. Sorry, Daniel the Camel. Um, it's kind of weird how quickly that changes, though, because if you remember last season when we were doing our picks for division winners and records and all that
Hmm.
stuff, we were like, the Colts are going to be really good this year. Matt Ryan is going to be a, quote, not the problem quarterback. I said that. Turns out he was the problem. Um, we thought that Jonathan Taylor was going to be really good. He ended up being really bad last year. He got hurt, didn't do very well. And so it's just a dumpster fire over there with the Colts.
Yeah.
And so is the rest of the division, honestly. The Titans are not doing much better. Will Levis has not been performing to a level which they thought. Who could have guessed, except for everyone, especially Caden and I. We were like, oh, yeah, Will Levis is not going to be anything. And everyone was like, well, he might be something. Turns out he's not anything. He's like barely hanging with the second stringers, middle of the pack, third stringer. So I wouldn't be surprised if Ryan Tannehill still starts at the beginning of the year, but who knows if they're even able to do that with the optics of that at this point. But big news for the Titans. They went ahead and signed D-Hop. Yes.
They did.
They signed probably one of the best wide receivers in the league, even though he is, very, very old. Like, D-Hop rode a dinosaur when he was a boy. He rode a dinosaur to school. That's how old D-Hop is. But
yep,
he was signed for less money than he wanted initially. And you know what? It's still not going to make the Titans any good. And he's going to be very bad. And he's going to very much regret playing for this team instead of going for a Super Bowl and going and signing with Kansas City for $0, which is what he should have done.
Yeah, it was a good move by the Titans. Before they signed him, I couldn't name you a receiver on the Titans. I can name you Treylon Burks because he was drafted last year. But he's not good. I mean, they got Derrick Henry, who's just getting older every year. Eventually, he's going to have to run out of gas. And then nothing. So they had to sign somebody. And they got a good receiver. But you said he is 31 years old, and he's not going to change that team. They're still going to be terrible. D-Hop said he wanted to go to a contender, and then he decides to go to Tennessee. So
not a contender.
Not a contender, yeah. His loss.
Yeah. And then one more team in the AFC South, the Texans. And that's a team that probably won't be doing much of anything. Unfortunately, CJ Stroud, Ohio State quarterback, was drafted there. So wish him nothing but the best. But the rest of the team, not going to be doing too hot, I would imagine. Bottom of the division.
Nope.
Calling it now.
Oh, I don't know. The Colts are going to be pretty bad as well. So
Colts are going to be pretty bad.
My opinion is that's the worst division in football.
Yeah, that's probably the worst division, honestly. Other than the NFC South, they're going to suck too.
No, because everyone says the NFC South is bad, but that has potential. 3 of those teams could have the first pick next year. That wouldn't be surprised.
3 of the teams in the NFC South could have the first pick next year.
No. I mean, they can be bad, but I don't know if they're that bad.
Come on,
but we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll get there.
Before we move on to the NFC, we have to tell you about our friends over at K&F Construction. K&F Construction has been serving the Northeast Ohio community for over 16 years, specializing in composite decks. If you want a beautiful deck for your backyard, you need to visit our friends at K&F Construction. Their website is kfconstruction.com. They are listed in the bio down here, so go ahead and check them out. So, over to the NFC. We'll start off with what? The NFC North. Not a whole bunch going on up there. Green Bay Packers, they went ahead and traded away Aaron Rodgers to the Jets for a conditional first, and as well as some other things. But probably the most exciting thing for Packers fans is that Jordan Love is actually looking pretty good. I don't know if the videos of training camp can really be trusted because it's just that team's media team doing everything they can to hype up their own team. But his throws have been looking really good, actually. Nothing to complain about or worry about up there, I think.
Right. I mean, maybe the lack of receivers kind of sucks for him. Their number one receiver is Christian Watson.
That's been the story of Green Bay for over a decade now.
Right. But yeah, aside from that, not really anything with Green Bay. They should be fine. Maybe.
Yeah, they'll be fine. They probably drafted another stud quarterback who's going to be there for over a decade, carrying them to nothing but victories on top of victories. So, good work, Green Bay Packers. The Bears. Is there anything going on with the Bears? I don't think so. Just Justin Fields being Justin Fields.
Justin Fields has made some bold claims. I know that much.
Yeah, what has he claimed?
He,
I haven't really heard much about that.
he was being interviewed by CBS Sports or something like that, and he said they asked him about because like the Bears haven't had like a 4,000-yard passer ever. I don't think. And they asked him
I
if
think
in
I'd be
his
interested
career,
about this.
they asked him if in his career he thinks that he'll ever beat that, and he said absolutely. And he said it'll happen this year, and you can count on that. Which personally, I mean, me and Austin are the biggest Justin Fields fans. I mean, he's the only NFL player that I have contemplated getting a jersey for that isn't up on the Panthers. Like I actually contemplated getting his Bears jersey because I like Fields that much. But when he said that, well, I was a little like, oh, I don't know how I feel about him saying that because you should be focused on winning games. Like obviously you pay attention to your stats. Like everyone wants to do good, but who cares if
Yeah.
you throw over 4,000 yards? His goal should be to win, and that's not really what I would want my team's quarterback to come out and say. Like, oh yeah, you can count on it. I'm gonna throw for this many yards. Like, no, you should try to win. I don't care how many yards you get.
Right.
If you're winning games, that's what I want to see. I don't care about your thing. And then they also asked him to name his top 5 rushing quarterbacks, like top 5 quarterbacks in terms of rushing ever, all time. And he put himself. The guy said, "You can put yourself in that list." And he goes, "Oh, I am." And he goes, "Because I most definitely am." And I mean, sure, but he's only done it for 1 year. So at the same time, I don't know if you can put yourself in the same tier as Cam Newton and Michael Vick and all those guys if you've done it for 1 year and they've done it. They did it their whole careers. So he made some bold claims. Kind of was like, should probably shut your mouth, but whatever.
I like the confidence, though. Hope he does it, and I hope that he wins games so he can keep his job.
Oh, absolutely, and that's a bad part. That is, if he fails at getting the 4,000 yards or he is terrible, you know how much that's going to come back to bite him in the butt. I mean,
right?
Whatever.
All right, moving a little further north of the Bears is the Lions. I don't think much has been going on over there except for wild Dan Campbell clips of him doing the up downs with the players.
I have not seen
Oklahoma
that.
drills.
I have not seen those. No.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
He's been going crazy, man. He makes his players do up downs, and then he goes ahead and he jumps in and he does the up downs with them. He did an Oklahoma drill with them. He said that last year he wanted to have a live lion on the sideline of every Lions home game, but the NFL wouldn't let him. So Dan Campbell's been making the internet rounds recently, which I love. I think he's a fun coach. He's a great coach. I love.
Yeah, I love
wish
him
that
as
Dan
a
Campbell
coach.
was my coach. He'd be a fun guy. But in terms of their players, I don't think that the Lions have really. The NFC North is the Minnesota Vikings. And if you can believe it, apparently Justin Jefferson has gotten even better, which I have seen the videos. He's yeah. Yeah. So Caden's apparently gone again. In case you guys are unaware, we are trying to run this off of Margaret's computer for the very first time. So that is partially why we've had all these technical difficulties with getting up on time and getting Caden ready to go. We're getting ready for Debbie to leave us for roughly a year here, where he won't have much contact. So Margaret's going to have to run the podcast, so that's why we're trying to get this rolling now. But like Caden was saying, Justin Jefferson looking absolutely unfair. I have no idea how he's even going to be guarded. Like we'll talk about this in our fantasy episode, I'm sure. But Justin Jefferson, first overall, is not a bad pick at all in fantasy. Looking for a lot of leagues to do that. That's where he's going most of the time. And that's pretty much all of the news out of the NFC North. Oh yeah, Jordan Addison. He's a wide receiver that the Vikings picked up in the draft. Late first round pick. And he was caught going, I believe it was 140. I think it was 140 miles an hour in a 55 mile an hour zone. Good news for him. He was completely sober and did not have weapons in the car. So that was great because he gets to not spend the rest of his life in jail, which is really good. But in his defense, guys, he was in a Lambo. So I think we would all go 140 and a 55. Just he happened to get caught, and he's a big name NFL player. So we'll say, yeah, Caden got a speeding ticket a couple weeks ago. So Caden was actually doing 140 and a 55 as well because he got a hold of a Lambo somehow. It's probably all this podcast money. So we'll see what his future holds for him. Hopefully he gets to play this year and gets to prove himself. So moving on here to the NFC East. And for some reason, why am I blanking on who's in the NFC East? Caden's still in my ear. So Caden, who's in the NFC East? Oh, that's right. Giants, the Eagles, the Washington football team, which I will still call them, and the Cowboys. So let's see. Start off with the football team. So there's actually been a lot of news with the football team. They finally sold, which I believe we had already covered, but the sale had been finalized in these last couple weeks here. Caden's back.
I'm back again.
Welcome back, Caden. Guess who's
Let's
back?
go.
Back again.
Dude.
Caden's back. Tell a friend.
I don't know why that keeps happening, but hopefully I'm back now.
Hopefully you're back for good. All right, Caden, the football team. Tell me about them.
The football team, they just officially sold